Promoting Pollinators is a subgroup of the Environmental Leadership Program at the University of Oregon. We aim to promote and restore native pollinator populations within Whitewater Ranch in Walterville, Oregon, home to the largest organic blueberry farm in the Mckenzie River Valley. This is a continuation of past work beginning in 2014 that serves as a long-term riparian restoration project along Goose Creek, also located within the property. We aim to answer the following questions. How has vegetation changed along Goose Creek since 2019 monitoring? How has the abundance and diversity of pollinators changed since 2019? And how has water temperature within Whitewater Ranch's watershed changed since 2019?
I'm going to quickly go over some of the methods that were used in this study. For our monitoring of the vegetation in the riparian restoration area, we had 4 plots where individual plants were monitored for health, growth, and competition over time. For our pollinator study, we conducted surveys in the blueberry fields along 4 60-meter transects twice during early and late bloom periods. For water monitoring, we took water temperature measurements at 6 GPS designated points along the creek 2 times during our study period. And for photo points, we took photos at 14 key locations along the restoration area to contribute to the record of restoration progress over time. And we also added 2 new photo points this year along the Mckenzie to track recovery and restoration after the 2020 wildfires.
For our results, within the plant surveys between 2019 and 2021, almost all of the willows have died or been cut down by wildlife. There's been an overall decrease in average height and height class between the 2 years. Grass competition has been high in both years, especially in 2021, can be seen from the photo point. There's been a lack of maintenance in 2020. There are many more honeybees in 2021 in our pollinator surveys due to commercial bees being introduced to the study area. There are a number of types of bees and pollinators that are relatively consistent between the years. However, there are fewer bumblebees and more honeybees compared to 2019. For our water surveys in 2021, we added a 6th location, which is labeled E, where Goose Creek meets the Mckenzie River. There's been an overall increase in temperature, which can be seen between both surveys A and B and between the years of 2019 and 2021.
As we said before, our goal with this project was to evaluate any trends that we can see over the last few years. So all of our conclusions point to the same major idea that we can see progress toward restoration and toward improvement along Goose Creek. We've seen a steady number of pollinators between 2019 and 2021, and if anything, there has been a slight decrease in local pollinators like bumblebees. The honeybees here have been brought in by the owners of the farm each year, so that increase is not quite relevant to our results. The Holiday Farm fire unfortunately did destroy a lot of potential habitat locations, so we're thinking that this may be a factor in the decrease in bumblebees seen this year. By looking at our photo points, we can see the damage of the fires and the overall growth of the previous team's plantings, and we can see how much reed canary grass has taken over in the past 2 years, which may be affecting the overall growth of those plantings as well. The vegetation along Goose Creek is growing slowly but surely, and each species looks like it has seen a healthy increase, except for the willows, which have presumably been cut down or bitten off by nutria or beavers or other wildlife. Lastly, the increase in water temperature may be caused by this year's drought, as well as reduced shade cover upstream, which would be related to the Holiday Farm fire.
Now I will speak about the management recommendations. Although Goose Creek was not directly impacted, the surrounding ecosystem has been severely damaged by the Holiday Farm fire, which occurred this last summer. Therefore, the need for rehabilitating pollinator habitat is high. There is damage to 173,000 acres of the surrounding area, and it is recommended to rehabilitate pollinator habitats, particularly ground nesting and tree nesting habitat for the native pollinators. Continuing to plant a wide variety of native riparian flora will aid in the creation of pollinator habitat, as well as improving the biodiversity of the riparian area. We recommend wrapping willows to protect them from wildlife. And this year, we created a new protocol, PEG's Pollinator Patch, which contains an array of wildflower seeds from the Willamette Valley to encourage a larger pollinator population. Future teams will monitor percent cover using a drone, as well as monitor species richness and abundance using quadrats. The final recommendation is to implement early bloom and late bloom refugee plantings, which are necessary habitat and food sources during the blueberry off-season.
Lastly, we would like to thank Jim and Jane Russell, our Whitewater Ranch hosts, and Seth Morgan, the farm's manager. We would also like to thank Peg Boulay, the program director, Derek Craig, our project manager, the Environmental Leadership Program, and our private donor.